Hey everybody, welcome to the Anxiety Project YouTube channel. Today I'm talking about the two mindsets when it comes to anxiety recovery. It's the set mindset and the developing mindset. Which one do you have and which one do you need to adopt starting today? So I'm going to start with the set mindset. Somebody with the set mindset sees change. They know change is attainable, but when they go to change, they are met with so much resistance that they stay put in their current limiting beliefs. They stay put in their current limiting identity that keeps their anxiety alive. And somebody with a set mindset copes, with medications and copes with reassurance from other people. They play the victim card. They walk around very internal, not external. They're not really in the moment. They're really focused on their well-being all the time. They wake up curious about how they're doing, whether they're going to survive the day or not. And when somebody goes to change, they are met with resistance, and a lot of this resistance is fear, right? Fear of changing, fear of unfamiliarity, the fear of losing friends, losing family, losing their relationships. And a lot of people hold on to that and they don't end up changing because they're afraid of losing that friendship, that acceptance. A lot of people go to work and they hang around that group of people that complain about their lives and they complain about how their days are so crummy, and you complain with them, so you're keeping your identity alive. You complain with them and you feel accepted, right? And when you go to change who you are, when you want to overcome anxiety and change your identity, you are met with resistance and the fear that, wait, if I change, I'm going to lose that friendship with these people. I'm going to lose my friends and I'm going to be alone. I don't want to be alone. And you give yourself a million excuses on not to change. But in reality, when you do change, new friends come that will support your new identity. You start attracting good people into your life. You're afraid now that you might lose these people and you might be alone. But realistically, when I changed from anxiety, I attracted new people that supported my new identity. And I started hanging around new people that was leading me higher and higher rather than keeping me low in my anxious state. And these people became role models and friends, and I started opening up to them and opening my heart to them. But it's pretty much just understanding if you have a set mindset and understanding that the brain is a muscle. And when you go work out at the gym, you don't lift the same weights for years. You're not really going to develop any muscle, are you? But if you start lifting heavier weights, you're going to be met with resistance and you'll start to sweat more, you start to feel the pain, and muscle tissue will grow. You'll end up developing bigger muscles and you'll start to look stronger and feel stronger. And that's the same with the mind. The mind needs to strengthen, and the mind is a muscle. So when you start running towards the fire, when you start running towards the anxious situation rather than running away from it, what happens to your brain then? It starts to develop stronger. It starts to be more stronger than ever. For instance, like right now in my current state, I am able to take on daily challenges better than I used to when I was living in an anxious state in the past. And I was way more sensitized. I was living day by day in fear. And now that my brain is stronger and I've always ran towards the fire, now I can deal with challenges much better. Okay? Now we move on to the developing mindset. Somebody with a developing mindset knows that change is attainable, and change is attainable no matter what your age is. No matter what your age. Our brains are very neuroplastic, meaning we can rewire them. We can change our thinking patterns. We can adopt new thinking patterns. And we can associate different events, fearful events, differently. We can perceive them differently, is what I'm trying to say. We can perceive different events differently, okay? And that's important because you're walking around probably right now sensitized to certain events, fearful of certain things, and it's important that we face them head on. And that's the only way we can overcome our anxiety naturally. And people with a developing mindset changes their shoulds to musts. I must change. If you say I should change, what's that telling your subconscious? It's not really telling it much. It's very vague. I should change. Well, it's an option, but I like my current state and it's too unfamiliar. But when you change it to must, I must change. It's very firm. There's no other option. It's a must. That's it. Change is going to happen no matter how much pain I feel. And somebody with this mindset knows that there are going to be highs and lows. It's not going to be an easy road to recover from anxiety. There's going to be a lot of days where you're going to have setbacks. I had my fair share of failures, setbacks. It's a long road, but it's understanding that you have to take these failures and setbacks as valuable lessons, okay? These are valuable lessons that will only serve you better if you know the value from it, right? And not to beat yourself up. A lot of anxiety sufferers are very, very hard on themselves, and it's important that you start to be more gentle on yourself. When you have a failure, when you have a setback, it's okay. And people with this mindset know that it's valuable. Failures are valuable, and it's a learning experience, okay? There are 3 ways to know if you have this type of mindset. The first one is if you have positive, rational self-talk. The second one is if you imagine the best possible outcome rather than the worst possible outcome. The third one is if you run towards the fire rather than running away from the fire, okay? These are very important. And now there are 3 ways to adopt a developing mindset. The first one is constantly learn, constantly grow. When I was overcoming anxiety, I knew I had to change my identity. I wasn't an avid reader, and I didn't know anything about anxiety. So I started to listen to podcasts. And when I started to listen to podcasts, it opened up my eyes to who I really was. I was a worried, anxious person. My identity was not the identity I wanted. And I knew from listening to these podcasts and videos that change is attainable if I put my mind to it and I start learning. And the first thing I knew when I was going through anxiety recovery is that learning was the thing that opened my eyes to something bigger. And that's one of the most important things to know. If you want to recover from anxiety, just start to learn. That's it. Just give time to yourself to learn. And it'll open your eyes up to something much bigger. Okay? The second thing is be open to being wrong. We're all wrong. We all make mistakes. But it's about being open to that, okay? And the third thing is celebrate your breakthroughs. I have a journal at night where I write down the accomplishments during the day, whether I survived a panic attack, whether I dealt with a meeting, in a good way, whether I ran towards the fire rather than away. This is very important to understand. And when you start to read your breakthroughs, and when you start to acknowledge that you're having breakthroughs, you're like, oh my God, I'm really accomplishing something amazing here that I never knew I could. And it's really about setting that bar down here, because a lot of people set that bar so high that they look up and they're like, how am I supposed to get there? A lot of people, and this was my old self, I used to look at people and be like, how do I get to be like him? And look at him, he's so confident and fit, and he's not afraid of anything. But do you think that guy is just naturally like that? It takes time to develop that kind of character. And when you set the bar so high, it seems so unattainable that you stay in a set mindset, and you don't want that. You want to set the bar low. You set the bar here and you're like, okay, I want to start to learn about anxiety. And that's the starting point. That's the starting point you need, okay? That's it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave a like, comment, and join the Facebook page. It's awesome. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. Do not let your anxiety define who you are. Have a great day. Bye, guys.